Right now at 10, how the Madison mayor wants to change the way police respond to calls involving mental health, especially where race is a factor. More about her proposal. And days after his acquittal on sexual assault charges, Quintez Cephas takes a step toward returning to school at UW-Madison. We'll have the latest.
From the Channel3000.com Alert Center, this is News 3 Now at 10.
And thanks for joining us tonight. The mayor of Madison announces new proposed changes to the way Madison and police handle mental health calls, especially as they relate to race. Amy Reed joins us now to explain the possible changes. Amy?
This is coming a couple months after a black 17-year-old boy having a mental health crisis had an encounter with police in his own home. Many people said the police used excessive force, and that sparked an internal investigation into the officers. Now Mayor Rhodes Conway is looking into ways to make sure this doesn't happen again.
Video from early June shows Madison police officers using force to get a 17-year-old to comply with them. It's a moment that Brandy Grayson, who's working with the boy and his family, says has made his situation and his health worse.
The repercussions is not just on the physical to his body, but to his whole family.
She appreciates the mayor released steps to reform the way Madison police handle mental health calls, especially as it relates to race. But the steps, including involving black health practitioners and police training, appointing a longtime advocate to the Police and Fire Commission, and looking at reducing MPD's involvement in mental health calls, fall short to Grayson.
One, I would like to see her address racism and systemic racism and how it plays out with our police department and other institutions. Two, I would like for her to take a hard stance against racism. And three, I think I would like her to use her power and her privilege to make the police department do what they need to do.
Mayor Satya Rhodes Conway says these are just first steps and they're subject to change.
What we're trying to look at the city as we realize that we have these crisis incidents that involve issues of mental health, we need to look at how we respond to them. And that it is possible that policing is not always the best tool or the best response if somebody is in mental health crisis.
In recent years, Madison police have instituted mental health officers whose goal is to help police with that very response. Rhodes Conway says it's not enough and healthcare professionals should be the ones assisting on these calls. Police Chief Mike Koval said Rhodes Conway's ideas are worthy of future review and collaboration. However, he has concerns. In a statement to us, I do have concerns about using a current/pending investigation as a mechanism, pointing to the urgency for change at MPD. As a reminder, MPD had initiated an investigation into this incident several days before the video/incident became public, and we have been very open and transparent as the process proceeds.
Rhodes Conway said these proposals are in early stages, and she's happy to hear feedback, especially as this conversation continues to form into actual policy.
We'll see where that conversation goes. Amy Reed reporting on. Amy, thank you. New tonight, the family home of Jamie Kloss, where she was kidnapped and her parents were shot and killed last October, is now being torn down. According to our news partners in Milwaukee, demolition on the home in Barron began today. The bank that owns the home made the decision to take it down. 21-year-old Jacob Patterson pleaded guilty to killing Denise and James Kloss and kidnapping their then 13-year-old daughter, Jamie. She escaped after 88 days. 9 people who lost their homes in last summer's gas explosion in Sun Prairie are now suing the companies they say are responsible. The lawsuit filed in Dane County alleges that VC Tech, Bear Communications, Verizon, We Energies, and USIC Locating Services failed to properly locate a gas line during the installation of fiber optic lines that punctured the line and led to the explosion. However, the ignition source was never determined. No criminal charges were filed as a result of that explosion, which killed firefighter Captain Corey Barr. Governor Tony Evers plans to meet early next week with Republican lawmakers to discuss a pair of gun control measures in the wake of mass shootings in Texas and Ohio. A spokesperson says the governor called both Assembly Speaker Robin Vos and Senate Majority Leader Scott Fitzgerald last night to talk about the issue. All of them agreed to meet next week. President Trump and the First Lady will be visiting both El Paso and Dayton tomorrow, but the move is getting some pushback. El Paso's Republican mayor says he has gotten phone calls from angry Texans, but will welcome the president over their objections. Dayton's Democratic mayor says she will also welcome the president as well as anyone protesting his visit. 2 countries have now issued a travel warning for anyone planning a trip to the United States following the mass shootings. Both Venezuela and Uruguay warned their residents about violence and hate crimes here in the United States. According to the U.S. Department of Defense, Venezuela is one of 13 countries in the world with the highest travel advisory, a level 4 do not travel warning. Uruguay listed as a level 2. That means exercise increased caution. Getting a look at the weather now. What a difference 24 hours can make. A calm night tonight. Live looks here from our West Side studios on top there and downtown from our Edgewater Skycam below. Chief Meteorologist Gary Canalti now with our first alert forecast. Gary?
Eric, there were a few showers earlier this evening south and west of Madison. Those have since dissipated. As we take a look at satellite and radar across the upper Midwest, see Wisconsin pretty much in the clear. There are some thunderstorms in western Minnesota and the eastern Dakotas. Those will weaken tonight, but probably fire up again tomorrow afternoon as they approach southern Wisconsin. High temperatures today made it up into the lower 80s. Even Milwaukee hit 80 degrees before a lake breeze kicked in. Temperatures right now range from the upper 60s to around 70 degrees through most of southern Wisconsin. Dew point temperatures are in the middle 60s. Those will continue to rise into tomorrow. So look for skies that turn partly sunny tomorrow. Look for a warm and humid day with a high of 84, and there could be a chance for an afternoon shower or thunderstorm. That's your News 3 Now First Alert forecast.
Gary, thank you. A search effort for a missing swimmer along the Lake Michigan shoreline has come up empty now for a second day. The Coast Guard now ruling it a recovery mission. A 19-year-old man disappeared off the shore of Cudahy about 6:30 last night. They say he was swimming with two other young adults when he never resurfaced. The former Badger football player previously accused of sexual assault is seeking to be readmitted to UW-Madison. Following a week-long trial, a jury found 21-year-old Quintez Cephas not guilty Friday of alleged attacks on two 18-year-old women. Madeline O'Neill tells us what comes next for the former Badger wide receiver. Maddie?
Eric, as of this afternoon, Cephas and his legal team are waiting on a response from the university after filing a readmission petition. It comes as current and former Badgers are calling for his return to the team.
We, the jury, find the defendant.
Less than a week ago in court, Quintez Cephas was facing an uncertain future.
I don't know.
Life has been on hold for all of us.
After hearing the words "not guilty," he's able to look forward.
He's a strong person. He's going to come back.
Now the question is, where? Current and former Badger players alike are campaigning for Cephas's return to Camp Randall on social media, with the hashtag #LetQTPlay popping up on Twitter. Former Wisconsin running back Dare Agumbawale tweeted, "Now that the nonsense is over, there's no reason for him not to be on the field with the boys this season." Current Badgers safety Scott Nelson wrote, "He deserves this. Make it happen now." Following those calls, Cephas's attorneys answered with the news they had filed a petition for readmission to UW-Madison. An official with the university says privacy laws limit what they can say about any particular student situation, but the chancellor reviews any petitions for readmission, evaluating it based on all applicable laws and policies. The athletic department says it's not involved in that process. According to UW system code, in cases of sexual assault, the readmission decision should be made in consultation with the Title IX coordinator. While that decision is still in the air, Cephas has his sights set ahead.
I'm excited about the rest of my life going forward.
Cephas told the Milwaukee Journal-Sentinel that going back to school is a top priority for him, and he's kept up with his training, saying he has been able to get to the best shape of his life. His attorneys have asked UW to respond to the petition by Thursday, and while university officials say the school tries to review petitions as quickly as possible, the timeline for response is based on the complexity of the case.
A 34-year-old Hartford man is out on a $5,000 signature bond tonight, accused of sexually assaulting a woman in the wave pool at Mount Olympus. According to the criminal complaint, the woman was on vacation with family when she says Marcos Funes Hernandez, a man she doesn't know, came up to her in that wave pool. It says once the wave came, he grabbed her, touched her inappropriately, and then wouldn't let go. Staff ordered him out of the pool and police were called. Investigators in Montana say a young boy was attacked over the weekend at a county fair. Witnesses say for not taking his hat off during the national anthem. Police say this man, 39-year-old Kurt Brockway, slammed the boy to the ground, fracturing his skull. Witnesses say Brockway tried to justify his actions, saying the boy was disrespecting the flag by not removing his hat during the national anthem.
All of the witnesses I have talked to said this was just completely random. There was no exchange, nothing. It was just he targeted Wally, grabbed him, and took him down.
The boy was flown to the hospital after receiving temporal skull fractures. The parents say the child was bleeding from his ear for nearly 6 hours after that incident. The state requested the suspect's bond be set at $100,000. However, the judge ruled Brockway can be released on his own recognizance. A massive fire this evening at an Illinois recycling plant. This is in Granite City, just across the Mississippi from St. Louis. The heavy black smoke billowed into the air, could be seen from miles. According to the plant's website, the facility recycles electronics, hardware, commercial, and industrial products. If you were downtown this evening, you may have noticed a fire outside the city-county building. The fire department was actually demonstrating just how helpful sprinkler systems can be. And to do that, they put a side-by-side sprinkler demonstration right along Martin Luther King Boulevard. Now, one room had sprinklers inside, the other did not, something the fire marshal says could be the difference between life and death.
Smoke alarms are essential in homes. They really are. They're the first line of defense, but as I said about the home fire fatalities, about 3,000 people die in fires a year. And so smoke alarms are important, but we need the sprinklers to take that next step.
Members of the Madison Common Council watched that demonstration. They're considering an ordinance that would add an alternative in the home building code. If a home has sprinklers, there only needs to be one exit from the basement. Right now, that number is 2. Still ahead tonight, celebrating National Night Out across the area. Plus, Midwest Express Airlines set to take flight once again, how it plans to reestablish itself. That's next on News 3 Now at 10. Author, educator, and Nobel Prize winner Toni Morrison has died at the age of 88. Her publisher says she passed away last night at a hospital in New York from an unknown illness. Back in 1993, she was the first African-American woman to win a Nobel Prize. In 2012, Morrison was awarded the Presidential Medal of Freedom by President Barack Obama, the highest civilian honor in the United States. Midwest Express is officially making a comeback. The Wisconsin-based airline will return to the skies with nonstop service from Milwaukee's Mitchell International Airport. The company says it has signed an agreement with the Portland, Maine-based Elite Airways. Elite will provide aircraft as well as flight crews while Midwest Express reestablishes itself. Midwest Express said it is researching business and community needs to determine initial routes and flight times, and that information is expected to come within the coming weeks. A private aircraft carrying members of the singer Pink's tour crew crash landed at a Danish airport early this morning and burst into flames. Luckily, concert promoter Live Nation says all of the passengers and crew escaped unharmed. The American singer, who is due to give a concert tomorrow night, was not on that plane. The Chocolatarian Cafe in Middleton says the store will be closing permanently later this month. According to its website, the company was unable to overcome a stretch of bad luck. That includes a fire and 2 floods. The Chocolatarian opened in 2012. A fire broke out at its Atwood Avenue location last year, causing significant damage. That location never reopened. And then the record flooding last summer closed several streets near the Middleton location, which the owner says affected business. The company's last day will be August 18th. State lawmakers are proposing new regulations that would prevent many dogs from being transferred to Wisconsin. The Department of Ag, Trade, and Consumer Protection has been working on tightening the leash on dogs entering our state with diseases. The Wisconsin Humane Society, though, is against that new rule, fearing it could lead to thousands of euthanized dogs. Wisconsin is looking to block dogs with heartworm and bacterial infection brucellosis, which affects reproductive organs and can jump to humans, though it is very rare. People across the city celebrating National Night Out this evening. It's a chance to talk with local first responders about any safety concerns residents may have in their neighborhoods. National Night Out events were held across the country. Tonight, Madison's event was at Warner Park. It's an annual community building campaign that promotes police-community partnerships and neighborhood camaraderie to make our neighborhoods safer.
I believe wholeheartedly when people have a chance to interact and get to know us as people, when we show up on calls for service or when we have an interaction with people during our regular work duties, we've had an opportunity to get to know people personally or to put down the barriers that sometimes exist.
Lieutenant Donahue says people could also interact with the police department's dogs, horses, and other equipment. National Night Out events were also held tonight in Janesville, Verona, and Lodi, among other locations. And it was a beautiful night to be outside for it compared to last night, which kept you a little bit busy.
Yeah, you know, about this time we had that line of storms rolling on through. Fortunately for us, we didn't have much in the way of severe weather around here, but take a look at some of the severe weather reports. These are over the last 48 hours. Most of these were just from yesterday evening, but notice a lot of wind reports, a couple of hail reports in central Wisconsin. Look at this little tornado report here in Dubuque, Iowa. And about this time last night, a brief EF1 tornado touchdown with 100-mile-per-hour winds, or at least the estimates there, causing some localized damage. So even though there was no tornado warning out, that line of thunderstorms rolled on through. We saw some rotation spots, didn't look very significant, but it was enough to produce a brief tornado touchdown near Dubuque, Iowa. Tonight, the severe weather has been to the west across parts of South Dakota and North Dakota into northwestern Minnesota. Those storms are weakening, but they'll fire up again tomorrow afternoon. Storm Prediction Center has a slight risk of severe thunderstorms through much of Wisconsin. It's going to be iffy as to whether or not some of these storms even form at all. It could be a situation where some of us get some heavy downpours and gusty winds and other people miss out on the rain altogether. Over the last 48 hours, general 1 to 2 inch rains were common across much of south central and central Wisconsin back into eastern Iowa. Over the next the next 24 hours or so, computer models now starting to come back up on the rainfall amounts, perhaps around a ½ inch in parts of southern Wisconsin where the heavier thunderstorms will be. But notice these breaks in between where either no rainfalls or very little rain. So again, the precipitation much more spotty than last night. We just had that full line of storms moving through everybody. Time lapse from the WISC Skycam shows the leftover clouds from the storms last night, then some sunshine, and then one rain shower moved through southwestern Dane County down into Greene County, and skies cleared out after that. Skies mainly clear as we headed towards sunset. Live view from the Edgewater Skycam in downtown Madison. Pretty quiet out there right now. Our high temperature today above normal at 83. The average high is 80. Low temperature also above normal at 60. 66. Right now we're at 69 degrees. Skies are mostly clear. The dew point temperature at 64, so that's starting to come up a little bit. Current temperatures are in the upper 60s to the lower 70s, but the dew point temperatures are starting to climb. These thunderstorms are now moving along with the jet stream winds from southwest to northeast, or from northwest to southeast, but it's on the northern edge of a heat dome, which is really baking parts of the south central plains, parts of Kansas today. We're up near the triple digits, but these thunderstorms will come in tomorrow right along this cold front. Once the front passes, the air behind it is a little cooler, also less humid, and that weather will be here as we head into the end of the week and probably much of the weekend as well. Overnight, mostly clear, maybe a little patchy fog in spots, low temperature dropping to 62. Tomorrow, partly sunny, warm and humid. There could be a shower or thunderstorm chance later in the afternoon with a high temperature of 84. Future track, the very latest computer model runs show clear skies overnight, low temperatures in the lower 60s. But you can see the scattered shower and thunderstorms popping up tomorrow afternoon into tomorrow evening as the cold front passes through. Then behind it, skies clear out tomorrow night, and we're back to sunshine and temperatures in the upper 70s with less humidity for Thursday. Again, rainfall amounts could be spotty. Some areas ½ to an inch and heavier thunderstorms. Other places, very little in the way of precipitation. But the 7 to 10 day forecast does call for a break in the heat and humidity for Thursday and Friday. Highs in the upper 70s. Weekend will be nice with highs in the lower 80s. Just a slight chance of thunderstorms Sunday and Monday. And then toward the end of next week, so much of that time period will be dry.
I know the rain in some areas was a little bit more than we wanted, but you know, it's been kind of dry.
It has been the last couple of weeks. We needed it.
All right, Gary, thank you. Coming up in sports, former Badger wants to get a regular season locker at Lambeau Field, and Kevin will have that story and more coming your way next in sports.
Packers president Mark Murphy called receiver Jordy Nelson one of the greatest Packers in history, and it's hard to argue. Top 5 in catches, touchdown catches, receiving yards, and 100-yard games. And today, number 87 made it official, retiring as a Green Bay Packer, so his former teammates' pleas fell on deaf ears when he showed up at practice today. Nelson spent his first 10 seasons with the Pack before a one-year stint with the Raiders. He said he didn't want to face the favorite memories question, but answered it anyway.
I think you obviously start with the Super Bowl. To be able to be there and have that opportunity to score a touchdown there, I mean, to have that football and everything. My son turned 1 that week of the Super Bowl, and then I still remember being down on the field with him and my wife. There's some good ones. We enjoyed them. Yeah, a lot of fun, but yeah, yeah, good there.
Okay, yeah. Former Badgers nose tackle Olive Sagapolu was a late addition to the Packers training camp roster, but he wants to stick around. Olive played against someone else for the first time this week, and he'll play his first preseason game Thursday. Big fella says he has a long way to go.
It's kind of a good chance to kind of see where I'm at. For me, I definitely think that there's a lot more room to grow. I mean, especially just getting here as a rookie. I mean, just kind of seeing the different sides of it. I mean, I definitely think I'm excited to be here. Excited for that opportunity we got to practice with him, and just look forward to Thursday.
There might be some green and white in addition to green and gold in Green Bay this week. Former Madison Memorial star Jester Weah's in his second season with the Texans and will play his first NFL game in his home state Thursday night at Lambeau. After starring for the Spartans, Weah played college ball at Pitt before signing as a free agent with Houston last season when he spent most of the year on the practice squad. Year 2 means focusing on making the cut for that 53-man roster.
It's been a grind every day. You just got to get better each and every day, focusing on my craft and just making plays when the opportunity presents itself. Just playing big and fast and just using my size to my advantage. That's awesome, man. You know, it feels good to be back home, good to see family and friends, and just feel that good Wisconsin air.
Christian Yelich getting the night off for Game 2 against the Pirates. Scoreless in the 5th. Yasmani Grandal in the lineup. And going to left center. RBI double makes it 1-0 Crew. Flash forward to the 9th. It's 3-2 Brewers. Bases loaded. Elias Diaz going to check on the runner at first. Trent Grisham is going to make things weird because he's going to get caught in a rundown. And he looks like he's going to be out. But catcher's interference is called, and the run scores, and it'd be important because that would be the game winner. 4-3, Brewers hold on to win Game 2. Cubs and the A's honoring the military beforehand. And the Cubs probably wish that celebration continued instead of playing the game. 1-0 in the 2nd. Dustin Garneau taking John Lester out. That made it 4-0. Part of an 8-run inning. Oakland wins 11-4. Cubs lead the Cardinals by 2. The Brewers by 3 in the division. One more break, and then we are back.
2 runs will score. It's
Gary's back. Final check of the forecast.
Yeah, things pretty quiet right now. Some storms in western Minnesota will reach us tomorrow afternoon. Storm Prediction Center does have a slight risk of severe weather, so we'll have to keep an eye on that. Current temperatures, upper 60s to around 70. Dew points starting to climb in the mid-60s, so that could lead to thunderstorm chances tomorrow. But after that, look for nice weather for the weekend and much of next week.
Thanks for joining us for News 3 Now at 10. Have a good night.